Public Affairs Analyst. Good evening to you, Dr. Banwo. Welcome to Politics Tonight, and it's so good to see you.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
Right. First, let's start with this inaugural address. Trump says the golden age of America begins now. Does that beat your imagination?
No, Trump has always been like that. It's been, it talks grand, and I think in his own mind, a whole new age of America is starting today. And I believe he believes it, whether others believe it for him or not. For the last 4 years, he felt America has been going down, and now he feels like it's his turn to right the ship again. Whether it's right or wrong, depending on which part of the political divide you stand.
But do you believe those words?
Yeah, I do. I do, in the sense that so many things have taken us out of what has made America great. In my own mind, I try not to be too partisan in public over the U.S. affairs. But the thing is, America as a nation started that was built under God, and in the last few years, it's like everything about God is being taken out of the system. Number two, America values its educational institutions, traditional education, and a lot of that has changed in the last 4 years. We have even the issue of gender policy. I know that is big, but I believe a lot of stuff, let me just put it that way, that many Americans are looking forward to. They believe Trump can do it, because if you look at his trajectory, for somebody who lost a re-election and with all those charges against him, so many felonies against him, so many, even some convictions, for Americans to still vote him back, that means most Americans believe America is not on the right track. I mean, that is under any normal circumstances, Trump shouldn't have won re-election. There's just too much baggage, quote and unquote, but for Americans to push all of that aside and still vote him, then that is the most obvious proof that you can have that most Americans don't believe that America is on the right track.
What stood out for you in that inaugural address?
What stood out for me? That he raised expectations too high. He said so many things that even me, as a who wished him well, I'm not sure he can deliver on all of them. He wants to take back the Panama Canal. That is like more or less a triggering war. But that is, I don't think China is going to allow him to just do that. It's going to lower prices. I don't know how he's going to do that when he's planning to also implement a lot of tariffs against foreign governments. But it's Trump. You know, Trump is a master negotiator. He starts out with, I'm going to take everything from you, and then forces you to the negotiation table to be able to get the best deal for America. So it is epic Trump. He talks grandly, and as much as possible, he tries to back it up, and then he reaches a compromise, then declares victory. So that's what we are seeing tonight, I think.
So this is a non-consecutive term.
Yes.
Trump is 78 years, which makes him the oldest president in U.S. history.
Yes.
What does Trump 2.0 mean for U.S. policy, foreign policy?
Foreign policy? Oh, well, let me not raise too much alarm. He is going to try, in his own mind, America should be preeminent in global world affairs, regardless of what is happening out there. I don't think we are as strong as we used to be, because China is on the ascendancy and the other. So he's going to want to try to be more local-minded, in the sense that face American issues first. He's not going to care so much about other countries. That's one. Number two, contrary to the image people may have of him, Trump does not like war. War is bad for business, and it's going to stop a lot of those wars out there. Not that those who are fighting right now will be happy, because Ukraine will not be happy, but I think Trump will stop that war and probably force them to take a kind of a deal with Russia. So globally, I think they're going to hear a lot from America. I don't think Trump will invade anywhere, but I also think he will impose his will. He did it the first time. On places like Europe, they will not like him, but he will get what he wants. In the Middle East, obviously it's partial towards Israel, and that is not likely to change, but he will also try to bring some modicum of peace there. And also the Arabs, knowing that the man is not going to be balanced towards them, I think will also make them behave. That is my conjecture. See, Trump has been president for 4 years before. People talk as if they don't know him. You know Trump. Trump is going to be Trump. It's just that this time, he's not going to be restrained, because he's not running for election again. All the time that he's trying to be nice, to try to bring in a coalition of people that is balanced, He's not going to do that. He's going to surround himself with Margarites. And whether that is going to be good or bad for America, we're yet to see. Yes.
And we'll discuss that. But you suggested that America or that Trump does not care about other countries. Aren't you bothered or worried about the impact that would have on America's relationship with its allies?
No, I didn't say Trump does not care about other countries. He does not care what other countries think of his actions. He feels that America should be number one, and if you are not in tune with that, Trump is not going to be your friend. Trump will tell Europe how he feels they should relate to us. And will it be wrong? We are paying for most of their stuff. So Trump comes from the point of view of business. If I'm paying more into your business, then I should have mouth. So internationally, Trump is going to do what Trump wants to do. He believes that Israel has a right to exist. Israel has a right to defend itself, and he will impose that. He believes that Europeans need to spend more to defend themselves. They need to also favor us with their trade. Whether they like it or not, that's what he's going to go do. So we're entering an era where he's probably not going to try to build consensus as much as trying to impose his will, which may not be good for the global geopolitics, in my opinion, like that Panama Canal thing. Because once he does that, he's basically encouraging China to go and take Taiwan. Because if he takes Panama Canal, China will take Taiwan, and then before we know it, it might spiral out of control. But I personally don't believe he's going to take Panama. I think it's a negotiating tactic. It's a vintage Trump. I'm going to take it. Then that will force you to come to the table and then give better deals to Americans, and then he will declare victory.
And he has also said he would tax foreign countries, but we'll come back to that.
Yes.
I mean, he's expected to begin signing several executive orders as part of his 100 order plan, which he revealed to Senate on January 8th.
Yes.
Now, the executive orders will cover a range of issues or topics, talk about border security, immigration, domestic energy production, and presidential pardons. Today is his first day. What is Trump likely to push on this first day?
No doubt, they are going after criminal aliens. He said it. He's backing it up. You know, elections matter in America, and your manifesto is clear. People have already created websites, including me, to try to monitor how many of those promises he's going to fulfill. So we know he's going to go after criminal aliens. You know, every time he talks about illegal aliens. I'm telling you right now, Trump does not have the capacity or even the will to go after all of them. So he talks tough, but he's going to go after criminal aliens. That's number one. He's going to reverse anything that has to do with transgender things that is Biden has done. He's going to reverse that tonight. He's going to issue some orders concerning some Islamic countries. You know he's going to do that. So it's going to be a flurry of trying to reverse what Biden has done to his first 4 years. You know the kind of person Trump is. Okay, so all those stuff that Biden has done to try to reverse.
Even if it's good for America?
Sorry?
Even if it's good for America.
Well, that's debatable whether what Biden was doing was good for America. How can we have...
You live there, you practice there.
Yes,
That's why I'm asking you.
I don't believe it's good for America. Okay. You want my candid opinion?
Of
for
course.
Instance, fuel prices are rising in America. America has more oil than any country in the world. But Biden is refusing to go and drill. So we import fuel from Russia and other places and increases our price on the street. The average person don't want to see that. So Trump is going to drill. Yeah, they will say it impacts the environment. I don't think Trump cares so much about the so-called environmental thing that they are saying. I also believe they are exaggerating it. I'm not going to say it's not there. So a lot of, and then the issue of the transgender, it looks small to a lot of people. When my kids are getting confused about who's a man, who's a woman, then we have a problem. So he's going to do that. So I don't believe the way we are going with the transgender is good for America. I could list 10 things that I think the Biden government...
Please go ahead.
Yes, that they're doing that I don't think is good for America. For instance, the systematic way to remove God from us. You saw that today. They were playing Christian songs. It's deliberate, okay? That we are going to bring God back to America. It looks small to those who are not religious, but it's a big deal. America was formed under God. It's in their constitution. That's number one. Number two, the way where you get cancelled simply because you speak your mind or because you speak the truth. The woke culture, I don't think was good for America. And Biden, Trump is going to cut all of that. So there's a lot. And I have to be sincere and transparent. I'm a conservative right guy. So color everything I'm saying with that. I'm not a liberal, and I'm very honest about that. So I believe in a lot of Trump policies. I may not like Trump personally, his personal personality. I think sometimes it could be vindictive, it could be petulant, it could be childish, but I believe a lot in the policies that he's pushing.
Because it's also said we're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And you also understand that presidents do have the authority to rename geographic regions and features.
Why not?
Right.
The Gulf of Mexico is an American thing. I don't know why that is even a big deal. Yeah, it should be Gulf of America. Why not?
So you wonder why some see this as a big deal?
Yeah, because remember his agenda is make America great again, America first. So why should we be naming a Gulf that is owned by America, Gulf of Mexico? It's a very, it may look small, but even in our own country, when our president came in, the first thing is he changed the national anthem. Those who don't get it, don't understand where it's coming from. Those little things, they matter. You are setting the tone. This is where we are going. We are going back to our federal system where we started from our own government. Trump is also saying we are going America first. Why should we have a Gulf that is owned by America, run by America, that is called Gulf of Mexico, when America should be first? So let it be called Gulf of America. It's just a lot of flexing. But it's not just flexing either. It's making this point. Because we are calling Gulf of Mexico, you are remembering Mexico. But if you are calling Gulf of America, you remember America. It's all psychological. So I have nothing against that. I don't think it should be the priority of the government for that. But same way that I didn't think priority was to change national anthem, but the people who are pushing the agenda, they understand that. And it works on the streets. Okay, if you are trying to say, listen, we want to go back to this particular level, okay, just like not to mix them up, where our own president really wants to go back to the regionalism thing, you change the national anthem to take us back to the original one. Those who are looking at, oh, the two words are not so much different, blah, 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 they don't get it. So Trump is trying to signal to the world that America is back. And one of the first things we are going to do is we are changing the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. We are telling Panama, treat us right, or we want our Panama,
Also by pardoning January 6 rioters.
Well, he has to do that. He has to do that. You know, that was, we don't want to get into that here. The January 6th.
That's the reason I'm asking you all of these questions.
Okay.
So you can, elaborate and expatiate and tell us what you think
because
about
the whole world believed that those January 6 protesters, I will not call them rioters because I was there. Okay.
You were part
the
of
protesters,
them.
yes. Okay. I wasn't in the Capitol, but I was following the whole sequence as it unfolded. So why did Biden pardon the guys who are in the committee? If they had not suppressed evidence, if they had not committed crimes, why did Biden pardon them? They're all afraid. So for me, those January 6 so-called rioters or protesters, they were casualties of political fight between him and Biden. So they have to be pardoned. What crime have they committed to go and protest against election that is going to be proved was rigged? In another 1 year, you will see the documentation. I'm going to leave it like that.
Because we've talked about other countries,
yes,
and we've seen Donald Trump's rhetoric around immigration, which some have described as harsh. What are we likely to expect, and who are those likely to be affected by this proposed change?
Now, when you talk this immigration, people say it's harsh. By the way, I'm an immigration lawyer. I make my money through helping immigrants to stay in America. And I can tell you for free, I don't have a problem with Donald Trump's policies concerning immigrants. Especially the immigrants that commit crime. Any country in the world, if somebody comes to your country, he doesn't have papers and is committing crime, you have a moral responsibility to take them out of your country. That to me is a non-issue, and I'm an immigration activist.
What exactly is the definition of crime?
Well, it will define it for if you've been committed a crime. You know, if you've committed a crime, did you go to jail? Well, if now that could be fine points I get to. Does that include DUI? Does that include all of that? They will iron out. So Trump makes a lot of noise about trying to deport all illegal aliens, but I can tell you right now, the man is a negotiator. The only people he's going to go out against are criminal aliens. You seem to be thinking
for him a lot, Dr. Banwo.
Because I've watched him for 4 years. If I were to tell you, I'm sure you're going to want to contest it, but if you have your fact checkers in the studio, Obama deported twice more people than Trump. It's a fact of the record. But Obama will smile at immigrants, but deport all of us. At least Trump is telling you what he's going to do. That if you are illegal here and you commit crime, you are going down. So he might talk about all illegal aliens, but he's not going to go after those who came into the country, like Nigerians, for instance. You came into the country with a visa and your visa expired. Those are like tier 4. Because this is my practice, what I do. Tier 1 are those who have committed serious crimes. Tier 2 are those who have committed any crime. Tier 3 are those who didn't come into the country with any form of visa. Then tier 4 is those who came in with visa, but their papers expired. It's never going to get to tier 4. There are more than 30 million. It's going to get stuck in that tier 1, violently criminal aliens and criminal aliens. And to me, that's the way it should be.
But it's also interesting that just last week, now former President Joe Biden granted an extension of special immigration protection status to nearly 1 million immigrants as one of his final acts in office. In terms of continuity, does this mean Trump would have to wait or may have to wait till 2026 when some of these status would expire for him to now perhaps deport them?
No, what Biden did was right because the DACA people as well as the Dream Act people, these are children that came into the country through their parents. They have to be given some form of protection. But Obama had opportunity to have given them permanent residence. He didn't do it. But I can tell you for free now, Trump is the one that's going to do it in his third year. You will say I said so. We're going to come back here and talk about it. Because when he wants to get money for his war, he has to give the Democrats something. And then he will say, okay, we'll give these DACA people, these Dream Act people, we'll give them a part of residency, but I want my money to build my wall. That's what where I think he's going. So Trump does not hate immigrants. I say that not because I support Trump, but because I have been doing immigration in America now for, I don't know, 1997, that's 27 years. Okay? The Democrats have been more harsh on immigrants than the Republicans, and the facts are there. You may choose not to see it if you Google now. In the same 4 years that Trump spent, Obama deported twice more people in that same spread. But nobody is blaming Obama for 18 immigrants. But it's Trump because he talks a lot about it. Okay, Obama will smile. Obama is the one that started, when somebody commits a crime, you go into the prison cell before they finish their time and you deport them from there. Trump did not start that law. It's my job.
Democrats listening or watching now will counter your arguments. Would also counter your arguments with facts.
No, it's facts. They know I'm telling the truth. The issue of a catch and release was not started by Trump. It was started by Obama. In the 4 years that Obama was there, and I keep challenging everybody, 4 years that Trump was there, he never passed one immigration law. And that's a fact. All he simply did was started implementing the immigration laws that Obama passed. So for me, there's just too much irrational fear about, yes, it's good for our business. A lot of people are running up and down, coming to our law firm, trying to get something going, but it's just too much fear about Trump. If you have not committed crime, I don't think you have too much to worry about. Okay. But if you have committed crime, I can tell you now, it will hunt you down. Yeah, it's going to, because it's serious.
We're also saying that President Trump is very particular about domestic energy production. He's talked about domestic energy production. Yes. He's talked about national energy emergency, which according to him will unlock a variety of different authorities to produce more natural resources. Please speak to that. Yes,
again, what is wrong with that? See, the Democrats, I really don't want to pitch it like Democrat versus Republican about what is good for America.
That's what it is.
Well, yeah. Now, as citizens of America, you are more concerned about the everyday issues, rising prices. Whether you're a politician or not, you want to buy cheaper fuel, you want to buy cheaper food in the stores. So America has oil, but they refuse to drill the oil. And then they go and import oil from Russia and Europe at a higher price. Does that even make business sense? So Trump is saying, okay, we understand about the environmental issues, but why should people in Europe go be the one that will be degrading their own environment to serve us and they charge us more money when we have oil here? That's why I say drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill. So when we get more oil, prices come down. America has more oil than any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia. People didn't know that. But they don't want to drill their own. Under the Democrats, they want to keep it. They say they're doing environmental, blah, blah, blah. But we pay the price on the streets. So Trump is saying, no, we're going to drill. And to me, he's right on point. Yeah, you might say I'm a conservative. It's one of the reasons we voted for him. We need him to do that. There is no point leaving the oil in the ground. And then we are suffering.
You have said President Trump does not like war. So do you see him ending this Russia-Ukraine war in the next 100 days?
I guarantee you will do it. It doesn't do it, but it will not be good for Ukraine. Okay, because Trump is a business person. He's going to tell Ukraine, because we are the one paying for the war. Ukraine don't have money. US is the biggest enabler of the war. So why should we be paying our own money for you guys to go and be fighting? He's going to tell him, no more war, or you're on your own. And then he may probably blackmail them and ask them to...
live pictures of President Trump at the inaugural ball.
Okay, that's my guy.
All right.
So
All right,
the Ukraine people are going to get a raw deal from him. He's probably going to put them in a room and say, listen, let Russia keep the areas he has collected. But we're not fighting war. You have to manage what is remaining. Because he really does not like war. Because war is bad for business. And he's going to try his best to stop it.
All right. I mean, it's also important to also take a look at key people selected to deliver Trump's most high-profile policies. We have Kristi Noem, that's Homeland Security Secretary. She's been very critical of the border policies of current U.S. President Joe Biden.
Okay.
Distinguished guests, including the Speaker, Leader Jeffries, and Senate Leaders Thune and Schumer, on behalf of the United States Congress, welcome to the 60th inaugural lunch. Big surprise, we are featuring Nebraska beef and Minnesota apples for dessert. We are here in Statuary Hall, where these luncheons have taken place since President Reagan's first inauguration in 1981, and where the House of Representatives once met over 150 years ago. That would be before you were born, Mr. Speaker. In 1864, after the new House wing of the Capitol was built, and in the midst of the Civil War, Congress dedicated this chamber to host statues chosen by every state. Walking into the hall, we all passed under the arch, holding the marble Car of History clock. The statue shows Cleo, the Greek muse of history, holding a book to record events as they happen. And as you can see, she's heard a lot of stuff. And as she rides her chariot forward into the future, she looks behind her to remember the past. She remains here as she has for hundreds of years, a reminder that history will remember the events of the present, and it is on us to write that history right now. Speaking of art, the painting right here before you, I chose this painting for this lunch this summer, and it's titled American Horizon. It's by Jane Wilson, who grew up on her family farm in Seymour, Iowa. Coming from the middle of our country, Senator Fisher and I both like the painting because the artist is from America's heartland, but the horizon could easily be Florida, Mr. President. I will also note that this is the first time in history we are featuring the work of a woman artist at this lunch, and we thank the Art Institute of Chicago for their assistance. Looking at the vast open landscape of this painting, we're drawn to the bottom of the frame where the land or the water, depending on where you're from, meets the sky, and the horizon endures. The enduring horizon is especially meaningful for us today as we mark our enduring democracy as we approach its 250th anniversary. It's a reminder that what's over the horizon is our next chapter, and it is my prayer that the people in this room can write that chapter together. I'd now like to ask U.S. Senate Chaplain Dr. Barry Black, and we thank God he is back with us and in good health, to deliver the invocation, after which lunch will be served. Thank you.
Let us pray. King of Kings.
All right, Dr. Banwo, that's Senator Emin, a Democrat who just gave the opening remark at the inaugural luncheon. She talked about rewriting America's history.
Yeah, every 4 years the history is rewritten, and it's going to be messy for a few months because what we have is Trump finished 4 years, Biden came to reverse a big part of what he's done. Now, because it's Trump, the next maybe 1 month or so is going to try to reverse as much of that reversal that that Biden has done. So it's going to be a bit messy. There's going to be a lot of, but history is being rewritten. The man is won re-election, the second time in American history that has happened.
The government is a continuum. Does this mean this does not apply to American politics?
Of course it applies to American politics. All the debts that Trump got before he left, Biden inherited it. All the debts that Biden got is going to inherit. A lot of the obligations of America he inherits. But that does not mean you can't reverse some of the stuff that has happened before. Whatever obligations America signed under Biden, Trump will honor it until he changes it by executive order or by law. And that's why you do that. That's why you have elections. That's why you have different parties. So when you come in, you want to impose your agenda on the people. You want to impose your own vision of America on the people. So sometimes that might involve having to change some of the commitments of the previous government. But hopefully, it will be done legally. I don't expect Trump to tear up contracts that Biden has signed that were obligated. He might negotiate his way out of it and all of that stuff. But things that he can do by executive order, that Biden reversed by executive order, get ready. It's going to reverse all of that. Because the Constitution gives you the power to do that.
He seemed very happy about that. But let's take a look at key people selected to deliver Trump's most high-profile places. We talked about Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary. She's been very critical of the border policies of former President Joe Biden. Tom Homan, who's of the opinion that this is the biggest national security vulnerability this nation has seen since 9/11, and we have to fix it. National Security Advisor Michael Watts, Elon Musk, and some others. Is this a win-win situation for these set of loyalists?
This set of?
The loyalists, Trump's loyalists.
Lawyers always win in anything, but the truth of the matter is that this border thing is a big issue, security-wise. When people come, people criticize Trump for this, and I keep asking them, which country will just allow people to just enter their country unchecked? You don't know who they are, they are not documented. It's irresponsible for you to allow a government to do that. Even Nigeria, Republic of Benin, people cannot just come into the country unchecked. There must be record. So he's saying, and then what all that happened under the 4 years of Biden is a disgrace, in the sense that we don't know how many people are in our country illegally. We don't know how many of them are terrorists because they are not checking the borders. So he's saying, no, we need to put a wall. Every country has got a border. Why shouldn't America get one? UK is policing immigrants in their country. Why shouldn't the US? When it comes to Trump, everybody loses their mind. But it's what every country is doing. In Nigeria, for instance, when things got tough for us, we told all Ghanaians to carry their load and leave the country. Within 72 hours. So Obasanjo did it because your priority is your country. So what he is saying is that Trump doesn't have a problem with immigration. He said do it legally. Okay?
So we'll talk about what this means for Nigeria and Africa in a moment. But the world is facing quite a number of issues, economic issues, terrorism. Would you say the global community has accepted this reality called Trump 2.0?
Yes. Yes, Trump 2.0 is about America being number one. I don't expect other countries to like it. Okay, it's like you're competing and somebody is saying, I want my country to be number one, and you're upset. You to go make your country number one. So in the new reality, in Trump's world, he feels that America is the greatest nation on earth. That might be debatable by China or Russia, but that's what Trump believes. And he's going to carry out policies that show that. And then those who want to resist him will resist him, and we're going to see it play out. So, and I'm an American as well as a Nigerian, so I'm on America's side. I'm not going to say I'm against America being number one. I want it to be number one. I live there. I'm a citizen there. So I'm not against it. The only thing, I just want him to do it in a way that is humane and that is also lawful, not just be a bully out there and just bully your way. But so he will find a way. If he has to use tariff to beat you to submission, if he has to use threat like Panama Canal, we gave them the canal. It's not their canal. We gave it to them. Now they went and brought China to come and be running it. So if he say we want our canal back, does that sound stupid to you? No, it's not. He's not going to get it. I don't think he's going to get it. But he's going to get concessions for America, which is where he's going. I've told you that before. Yeah. By the time he makes enough noise, file a lot of papers at wherever, and start fighting it, then he say, let's sit down. Okay. Give us 75% discount at the potting, and then he will declare victory. That's where he's going. But I'm not going to say he's wrong. I'm not going to say he's wrong. Nigeria will do the same. We can criticize him right now. So if it's like we have a Kenji Dam, and then we give it to Niger to manage, then Niger goes to bring France to come and be doing, and then they are now overtaxing Nigerian companies. Won't we be upset? We wouldn't even say we want to take it. We're just going to take it. If it's Nigeria, know us. We're just going to take the thing. So Trump is saying, he's speaking for his country. And so far, I can't fault him. You've not asked me my concern about Trump. My concern about him is that he's going to let his personal pettiness to overtake some of the grand visions that many of us support. I'm worried the fact that he's personally very vindictive. It shouldn't be. He's a president. He should be president of America. That is my worry. He's going to go after some of these people that really he should just let go. So we pray that he will not let his personal vindictiveness, his sometimes childishness overshadow the major policies that all of us are hoping he will come. So that's my concern, because Trump is very temperamental. And
I mean, you
pray.
already called him a bully, so I didn't think it was necessary for me to ask you if you had concerns. But let's come back to Nigeria. What does this mean for Nigeria and Africa?
What it means for Nigeria. Number one, you have to understand that Trump is not going to come and save anybody, certainly not Nigeria. So we're on our own and we got to do our own thing. And Mr. President, thank God, is thinking along those lines. Number two, in the order of things, remember, Nigeria is becoming much more important in geopolitics now, especially with China showing so much interest. So I can see Trump trying to make some power play as far as having some kind of control about what is happening in Nigeria. He didn't do much of that the first time because it really just didn't bother him. But I think he will now because we are almost gone to the other side. France has maybe, I said France, China probably has 3-4 times more influence than US on Nigerian stuff right now. And I don't think Trump, just as a matter of principle, we want that to continue. Whether he cares about Nigeria or not, he's going to put face. It's my thinking, but for all I know, he might say, forget Nigeria. I just want to stay in my America and do my thing. We don't know what he will do. I wish he would show interest in Nigeria. I do wish.
Some say, based on empirical evidence, Nigeria has enjoyed more engagement with the U.S. under the leadership of the Democratic Party. Talk about Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. And he said it would see the Democratic Party, based on their own liberal ideologies, more open to bilateral relationship than the Republicans.
That's a fantasy.
Talk about Donald Trump now.
It's fantasy. It's not true. Has Biden been to Nigeria? Has Kamala been to Nigeria? Was Obama here? Obama was going to Ghana. He never came here. So I don't know where we got this fantasy from, saying that we enjoy better bilateral. It's under Biden that they stopped giving visas to Nigeria. So what are you talking about? So I think we can't even do worse under Trump when it comes to a bilateral relationship. We have oil. We have a lot of minerals that Trump probably wants. So it will work out a deal with Nigeria, is my belief. But I don't want people to carry that narrative that we get more bilateral relationship under Democrats. Where are the facts? The facts are not here. Obama was an African. He didn't even deem it important enough to come here. And don't be surprised if Trump signs his VP here. I won't be surprised. Because Nigeria is a player now, especially with the way this president is going. All those fundamental issues that is putting in place will interest America. That tax reform thing, it was a big thing in America, by the way. That's why a lot of American countries were even divesting a clarity of relationship of government with foreign companies, which we are having under these new laws. So we interest them, they might come back, is what I'm saying. So for me, while I don't hold that much hope that Trump will prioritize Nigeria, I think we can't do worse because we didn't get anything under Biden. Tell me what we got. We didn't get anything. So worst case that will happen under Trump is that we also won't get anything, but I think we will. Okay, so people argue these things emotionally because a lot of people, they like the Democrats. So whatever most of what people see is on CNN. Fox is not in Nigeria. Fox is the one that pushes the Republican agenda. So people believe what they see. So many see Trump now as a bad guy because that's what they hear 24/7. But if you are watching Fox News, you also think he's a saint because they focus on all the good things he's doing. So I would just say people should be open-minded, okay? And of course, our government, we have a very canny president too, so it too will watch. And if there's any deal to be made, they will make it. There is Konima and Konima, so I think we'll be okay. I think Nigeria will be okay.
Beyond Nigeria now, let's talk about Africa.
Yes.
With the Trump presidency, what kind of approach must African leaders adopt, adopt now in engaging with the Trump presidency or Trump administration?
Well,
that would serve the region.
Well, the region, to me, is not in our own interest to antagonize him or to be part of the resistance. Whatever we like, Trump is going to be president for the next 4 years, God sparing his life, okay? So if we know that and we want to have good relationship with America, then we have to work with whoever is there. He's talking about this immigration thing. I've been hearing a lot of negative feedback from a lot of African countries. Why? Because they feel that a lot of their citizens who are there might get deported, but they need to calm down and look at it professionally. Will they allow unchecked immigration into their country? Will they do that? So if they won't do that, then they should engage him. Maybe look for what Trump wants. Trump is about business. If they create an atmosphere for American countries to be able to, American companies to benefit from Nigeria, Trump will say, oh, it's the best country in the world. When you do bad stuff to American companies, say it's a shit hole. You know that's the kind of money he is. So for me, every country should look at what do we want from America and how can we get it, and not play the politics of Republican or Democrat, because it's irrelevant to us. What is Nigeria? What do we need? For instance, we need them to be able to give us more visas. I expect our external affairs people to be able to meet with them, figure out what Nigeria can offer to make it easier for our people. Some of the stuff we have, how they can switch from getting it from China and getting it from us, offering them deals. Trump is a deal guy. You give him a great deal, he's going to take it. That's, so to me...
Talking about that, and to be very specific, this is particularly focused on trade, bilateral trade between Nigeria and America.
Yes.
And from the 2024 trade statistics, China and India is leading in import from Nigeria. And China and indeed Asia is pushing to be the leading African trade partners. Where does that leave America? Can Donald Trump turn the tide?
Donald Trump is very, very competitive, okay? And we want to play, okay, in the sense that just for the implications for politics, implications for world dominance, he can't just allow China to run away with Nigeria. He's not going to do that. Okay, so he's going to come and he's going to make his play. How he's going to do that, I don't know. And of course, those of us who are there, whatever little we are talking about, we want to talk about that. We don't want this place to be another Chinese colony. I would rather, if the superpowers are playing against each other, we benefit. If China is trying to get something, US is trying to get something, then we are in a better position to negotiate a great deal. So we shouldn't be too much on the side of one over the other, is what I'm saying. We should play neutral and then play both sides against each other to get what we want.
Well, talking about economic engagement now and also security cooperation, how does Africa advance our own domestic and continental priorities in a rapidly changing world?
Well, by focusing on Africa first, by making
This is you charging African leaders now.
Sorry, come again?
This is you charging or urging African leaders.
Yes. So my charge to them is that they should focus on what benefits their country, not what makes America or what makes Europe happy. What benefits Nigeria as a country? Then push that globally with what you have. Nigeria has got almost everything the world wants. We've got plutonium, we've got oil, we've got all of that. We should use those as weapons to get good deals for our country. Why can't, for instance, our Minister of Internal Affairs negotiate visa-free to some of those lesser European countries? Why? Why should Cameroon have visa-free to some countries and we don't? Or why should other lesser countries like Togo have some kind of bilateral agreement with US, for instance? Many people don't know that allows them to be able to do investor visa in America, e-treaty. We don't have that. But we have a lot more than those countries. But our people, with all due respect, they are not pushing that enough. And we have the resources to push that. We have even gas that we don't even know what we're doing with. They offer that to America in exchange for something, we will get it. So I think the way forward is for Nigeria to prioritize its own interest. What does Nigeria want? What does it want for its own economy? Once we determine that, then we engage America with the resources that we have to negotiate for that. Mr. President in America is a deals man. So we put deals together to get what we want. He will play. Forget all this racism they are telling you about. You give Donald Trump a good deal, Donald Trump can't stop himself. He will take it. And that's what I will...
I wonder what a good deal is.
A good deal is one that benefits everybody. Okay? And then, of course, you send good negotiators because Trump will try to get the best of you. But the point is, he is open. He is not... Trump, I tell people, Trump is not even ideological. Forget all that one they are telling you. Trump just wants a good deal. I'm not going to even say he's a serious conservative. I'm a conservative. I know Trump is not. Whatever deal you give the man that works, he takes it. He's not guided by an ideology, whether Democrat or Republican. He's guided by pragmatism, what works, what will work for us, what can work for you, and that is what he will do. Take, for instance, people tell you Trump don't like America. Will you believe when I tell you that most of Trump towers, his hotels, were built with investor money, immigrant investor money. The investor visa, where you invest $500,000 to $1 million in the US to get the green card, that is how Trump built most of his hotels. And people are telling you he doesn't like immigrants. He wants free money because investor visa is almost like a rent-free money or interest-free money. He's going to boost that. So for people who are rich, he wants them in America. He doesn't want poor people. Are you going to blame him? Will you want poor people in your country? So it will increase the parts that encourage the educated, the rich to come to America. and then we enforce the part that keeps out the poor people because we have enough poor people in America. I can't fault that. It's what I would do if I'm president. Okay, I want people who can make my country better, who can contribute to my country better. Contrary to what they tell you, they love Nigerians. They love people from here. Why? Because many of them come with big intelligence, and many of them have this ambition of starting companies. So it doesn't see us as a negative net to the U.S. economy, but it sees the Mexicans as a negative net to them. So it doesn't want them. Am I going to quarrel with that? No, I'm not going to quarrel. I'm a conservative. I want what will benefit my country.
All right, Dr. Banwo, let's wrap up this way. And I'd like you to speak to how Africa's economy needs to go beyond mere market access and symbolic gesture. Do you agree that it's high time we looked into investments in infrastructure, renewable energy, education, healthcare? Where do we begin from?
I think where we begin is having transparency, having rules that are clear to countries that like to operate under clear rules. And those are why all these fundamental laws that Mr. President is doing, that why I like it, even though I'm not a typical supporter of the government. When you have those fundamental things in there, the investors will come. They can't come when there's no clarity. They can't come when there are no incentives for them. So we have Dangote now, for instance. If we have these oil refineries kicking off, even America will come and buy oil here if it's cheaper. So we need to focus on fundamentals, making it easy for companies to do business here, making the rules very clear, and of course fighting corruption. Corruption is a big deal why a lot of foreign countries are leaving, because they can't operate. They want to get a license, somebody has to pay them money, they have to do that. They can't deal with that. So if we can make our systems more transparent, make it easy for people to do business in a way that is clear, they will come. That's our priority, because Nigeria, we've got the population, 200 million people, but we don't have the structures to help. Take Netflix. Why would Netflix come to Nigeria and say they want to leave? Because they see 200 million population, but their whole subscriber base is like 32,000 or something. They're like, what is wrong with you people? Okay? Because people can't watch TV because there's no light. So let's fix our infrastructure. If the light is working well, and thank God it's improved now, if it's working very well and people can watch TV, more people will subscribe. So it's all come down to structure. Light, number one. We put that in place. The people will be begging to come to Nigeria. They look at the population and they salivate until they get here. Then they realize that it's not that easy to be able to access their services, or for the people locally to access their services. So if I were the president, what I would focus more, or any African country, is improving the infrastructural base. That drives everything else. Why will I want to come and invest in Nigeria if I'm not sure I'm going to be able to power my company? Okay? Why will I want to come and invest in Nigeria when I'm not clear where I can submit my papers and know that I don't have to bribe anybody for it to be approved? Those are all structural things. If we can put that in place, everything else will take care of itself. It's my personal belief. It's not so much about talk.
All right, Dr. Banwo. So U.S.-China rivalry, yes. Does it cast a shadow over U.S.-Africa relations?
100%. 100%. U.S. is more concerned about Russia than Africa. Anybody can say they don't like that. When you look at the whole GDP of Africa compared to Russia, to China, it's a far cry. They are not worried about Nigeria overtaking them in the world stage in the next 100 years. But they're worried about China over the next 5 years.
Dr. Banwo, sadly we have to leave this conversation here.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming on Politics Tonight. US-based lawyer, public affairs analyst, Dr. Ope Banwo. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That's a package on Politics Tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow. Good night, everyone.